place you gotta be, where movie shows and games light up your fantasy. Slav's behind the mic, he's got a vibe so free.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Slav's Free Talk Podcast, where we talk all things pop culture. And happy Mario Day, everybody. How's it going? Hopefully you had a good weekend and enjoyed, well, depending on where you're at, enjoyed the weather. It's a pretty nice day today where I'm at, so hopefully you're enjoying the weather. We got a few things to talk about. It's a little DC heavy on the back end here of the episode, but we got some Harry Potter, some Marvel, some Hans Zimmer information that popped up this weekend that I didn't even realize happened over the past couple weeks, and I wanted to touch on and get even some of your thoughts on it. So hopefully you all make it to the show, and if you're listening podcast after the fact, make sure you jump onto the YouTube Monday nights to watch live so you can join in on all the fun. But let's dive in. Let's see who is here today. So far, we just got Trevon in here. He goes, "Here I am." What's going on, man? Glad to have you here. I'm sure people jump in. It's with X being down today. X was down almost the entire day. It wasn't until late this afternoon that I noticed that it was back up. So I couldn't really even promote the show was going to be out today on X, which was disappointing. I know a lot of people rely on X and seeing that when episodes are going to be coming out and such. And we got Jalen in here. What's going on? So some people may not have seen that there was an episode dropping today, unfortunately. But here we are. All right. So let's get into the show. Let's just kind of dive in and start. Like I said at the beginning, happy Mario Day, everybody. And I wanted to start out for those of you who are watching live or catching it today on Mario Day. There's some pretty cool deals going on. This is from cnet.com. There are some Mario Day console game deals. Now, I know that there's a Switch 2 coming out here in probably the next 5 to 6 months, so you may not want to take advantage of like a Switch deal, but this is still a pretty good deal. An OLED model Switch at Best Buy with Super Mario Brothers Wonder for $350. That's not bad at all. You can get Mario plus Mario and Rabbids Sparks and Hope for digital for $15. Super Mario Brothers Wonder for $42 by itself, and so many other gaming deals. You can go down the list at cnet.com. There's a whole bunch of other Mario deals today. You're saving $20 on pretty much everything. Some of them aren't as much as $20, but most of them are around $20 that you're saving when it comes to a Mario game. I can't believe Super Mario Odyssey is still $50 though. That's insane. And that's saving money. It's still a $60 game. That's insane. But yeah, you can go jump on to probably the Nintendo store and take advantage of some of these deals right now. Who else we got? We got Alien. Whoa. Ew, what's going on? Jalen says, it's Mario Day and no news on Mario Brothers movie sequel. Yeah, I was kind of shocked about that too, but I'm sure they don't have much done with it. It says, can't lie. Jalen says, can't lie. Haven't played Mario in years. Yeah, I mean, the 3D World games I've really enjoyed. I've liked those. Super Mario Odyssey has been a lot of fun. I did like that. Wait, I just noticed something. It says Super Mario Odyssey up here for $40, and then down here it says $49. What's the difference? I honestly though, that it was all right. It was fun to a point. I don't know. My favorite still to this day is Mario 64. To this day, that's still the GOAT in my eyes. I know a lot of people loved the Galaxy series, the 2 Galaxy games. I wasn't a big fan of those. They were all right, but to me, Super Mario 64 still the GOAT. Absolutely the GOAT. All right, moving on. This one is interesting. This one could be a little controversial, so I apologize to a lot of you out there because, again, this can be a little controversial. Some of you may not know this about me, but I do like Harry Potter. I do. I like Harry Potter. Never read the books. Tried to. Never really got into them. I'm not a big reader. I like comic books, and I have to be really, really, really interested to read a book. I think the last book series that I really got into was The Hunger Games. I read that start to finish, was real excited. That was probably the last book series I really, really got into. And I was reading them when they were coming out. What was that, 10, 15 years ago? So when it comes to books, I don't really dive into books very often. Like I said, I really, really have to be into the idea of reading the books. But Harry Potter came out when I was but a teen. I was a teenager, and it was the talk of the town. So obviously, I got into it. And yeah, I dabbled in the books. I read the first book, and I think I read the third or fourth book. I don't remember which one it was. But I read another book. Never read the rest of them. My one best friend growing up, he read all of them. He was really into them. But I really enjoyed the films. I did. I loved the films. When they announced that they were going to be doing this television series on HBO and for Max, I was pumped. I was like, hey, this is cool. Look, I love the films. I love what Daniel Radcliffe did. I love what Emma Watson did. And the whole cast and crew. Alan Rickman, phenomenal as Snape in that show. I mean, or in that movie, or those movies. What they did was phenomenal. Granted, yes, I get that those movies weren't verbatim perfectly done to the books. And that's fine. It's hard. We all know it's hard to do exactly what the books are when you're putting it to a 2 hour long movie, 2.5 hour long film, especially when the books you're looking at 4, 5, 600 pages plus for books. So when they were talking about doing the show, and they're saying each season is going to be a book, and they're talking about 10 plus episodes, I think, for each season. I was like, wow, like they're going to be able to capture these books better than the films did. And I was all for it. J.K. Rowling being a part of it, awesome. Absolutely love that, because she's going to stay true. At least we thought she was going to stay true to how the characters would be portrayed, how the books would need to be handled on screen. They've done some casting updates, and I was a little shocked when Albus Dumbledore was cast as John Lithgow, who is an American actor. I was a little shocked. Now, don't get me wrong, John Lithgow is a fantastic actor. I've loved him since I've seen him in Harry and the Hendersons way back in the early 90s. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I don't know, maybe that's a little too old for some of you people that watch or listen to this show, but love that movie. But I'm a fan of John Lithgow, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. Maybe you guys will know John Lithgow better, probably from Shrek. But regardless, I was a little shocked that they went with an American for such a highly British-centric type of series. So that kind of shocked me. But this shocked me more than anything. They have cast Severus Snape, and they closed a deal with a man named, I'm terrible with names, you all know that, Papa Esidu, I think is how you say his name. He is a black actor to play Severus Snape. That was shocking. And it's not, and I've been very upfront about this for quite some time. I'm not one of those people who sit there and say, you can't cast a black actor in a white role ever, because I don't believe that. I think it comes down to how the character is portrayed. I think how the character has been written, how the character has been developed, so on and so forth. I know in the books of Harry Potter that the way Severus Snape has been explained in the books as milky white skin and, pale and everything like that, it's kind of shocking that they would go this route. And in my opinion, you have a very divided fan base as it is with Harry Potter. Harry Potter right now is divided because, and this is going to be a little political here, guys, I'm sorry, but you have a fan base that is divided by politics because of J.K. Rowling's current political beliefs with the transgender movement. And her beliefs in the transgender movement is that a woman is a woman and a man is a man. You can't transition one way or another. So typically, I'm not saying all, but typically you have the liberal mindset, the liberal minds, the leftist minds who side with the transgender community. And they're mad at J.K. Rowling. So with them mad at her, they weren't going to watch this movie. They weren't. Sure, you may have the conservative minds who are willing to see this movie, but now you have the conservative people who are against the changing of the color of the skin, changing the race of a character just to change it, because they believe that you're only doing it to appease an agenda. And when you sit back and you take a look at this in particular situation here, I am all for, absolutely all for, giving the job to the best person. I'm all about merit-based, promotions, everything like that. I don't care about your skin color. Are you the best person for the job? However, when you take a look at the source material here, everything about the source material showcases Severus Snape as a pale white-skinned man. So I'm willing to see and give this a shot to see how it plays out. But they had to know going into this that this was going to cause a lot of controversy. And I think it's really foolish of them, especially being Warner Brothers right now, which already has so much controversy around it on the DC side. Now you have more controversy on the Harry Potter side. It just makes no sense to me why they would allow this to happen. Look, I don't know this guy. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. He could be a phenomenal actor, and more power to him if he is. But when I sit down and take a look at the grand scheme of everything and look at how everything has been playing out, this was a bad move because of, this was a bad business move. That's how I want to put it. This is a bad business move. Plain and simple. I don't see any other way to put it. Again, he could be a phenomenal actor. He could destroy the role of Severus Snape and be amazing at it. But there's no denying that it is a terrible business move. It's terrible optics for what's going on in the world today. And I think they may regret what they're doing here. Now, we still don't know. I don't think we've gotten the casting of Harry, Hermione, and Ron. And that could be telling as well. What if they go the opposite route and make Harry a black kid, and Harry and his family are black, and black, and then maybe it's okay, they're just completely changing things up, and they go that route. And that's a possibility. And let's not forget that the stage play sequel, I can't remember what that was called, that came out, Hermione, they changed to being a black girl. So this isn't earth-shattering. They've done this already with Harry Potter, where they've changed the race of a character. It's just, right now, I think it is bad optics. I think it's bad timing for this. But let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you think, because again, I'm up for seeing it. I want to see, I like Harry Potter so much. I just don't understand why they thought this was a good idea to do right now. On the landscape of everything going on in the world, the way the business is, where Warner Brothers sits right now, with what's going on with J.K. Rowling, nothing makes sense on why they would do this, unless they made a massive change with the rest of the cast. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, what are you seeing over here? Oh, man. There's a lot of you. Sean. How's it going, Sean? It says, Slav, I'm glad they chose Snape being black instead of Hermione. We still don't know. We haven't gotten the casting for them. So maybe Hermione and Harry and Ron, maybe they're all black. So we don't know right now. We don't know what they're doing. Jalen says, when the Percy Jackson series came out, I tried reading the books as well, but never got further than like 50 pages. I've not read those at all. Critic Chris says, I just beat Super Mario Brothers 3 and Mario World a couple weeks ago for the first time. It only took 30 years. That's crazy. I beat those when I was a kid. Oh, man. Jalen Harris says, the Gauntlet of Fire was trash. Gauntlet of Fire. Critic Chris says, only really like the first 2 Hunger Game movies. Honestly, I enjoyed all the Hunger Game movies. I actually really hated the ending of the whole story of the 3 books and the movies. I didn't see the newer stuff that came out, especially with Rachel Zegler. But I really didn't like the way they ended it. And I also do realize that they changed a bit of if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I read or saw the movies. If I remember correctly, they like changed the final book or the final movie compared to the book. It was like changed slightly, if I remember correctly. Not a lot, but slightly. And the first movie was very different from the book too. What else do we got here? Trayvon says J.K. Rowling spoke the gospel truth. You're not wrong. Jalen says, I hate that this casting is so conflicting. Well, again, like I said, I understand why it is, because you take a look at the pages of the book. You take a look at the way Severus Snape is explained in the book. He's explained a certain way multiple times throughout the entire series. He's explained a certain way. And people get upset because they have a vision in their mind. You then have the amazing performance of the late great Alan Rickman. So people have this vision in their mind of that. You've had artist renderings of it as well. So to do a complete 180 and go the opposite direction, people are going to be a little taken aback by that, of course. So I understand it. My concern is, and not concern, but my shock is not from them doing that, because my stance has always been is if the backstory of the character and the character itself isn't rooted in their race, then what does it matter? What does it matter? So my concern is just the optics and the business side of things. That's all it is, for me at least. Off the Cover says, yo, what up, Slav? What's going on off the cover? Jalen says, it's fair to say that this isn't the smart business move, but at the same time, studios shouldn't be afraid to be different. Not always going to work, but who knows? I'm willing to give the dude a chance. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they shouldn't be afraid to be different, but sometimes, I mean, if you see where Warner Brothers is right now, it's not really the smart move. It really isn't. All right, moving on. Captain America: Brave New World. We've talked about this like every week that I've done a show. Tell you what, its box office run is coming to a close, guys, and it's not looking good. I have to admit, I thought it was going to do better than it's doing. Not much better, but I thought it would do better. So this coming from comicbookmovie.com. It said, this weekend, Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 opened to $53.3 million worldwide, a so-so result for that comedy starring Robert Pattinson. It's not been the best of starts for theaters this year, as Captain America has similarly underperformed over the past few weeks. Having grossed just $9.2 million during its third week overseas, the MCU movie's momentum is slowing down. However, it has nearly reached $200 million at the international box office, with $194.2 million in total. Combine it with its North America total of $176.6 million, it has now reached $370.6 million. Analysts are now predicting a final worldwide gross between $405 million and $440 million. Regardless where it lands, Falcon and the Winter Soldier follow-up will ultimately rank among Marvel's lowest earning titles. Oof. The Marvels is studio's biggest flop still, having only made 206 million in total. Brave New World, however, looks to end up somewhere between Eternals, which is 402, and Shang-Chi, which is 432, and Thor and the first Thor at 449. Two of those were released during the pandemic, and Thor was one of the earliest movies back in 2011. All right. This is an interesting topic because I still don't think Brave New World is a trash movie. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I don't think it's one of the worst Marvel movies. I don't. I think it's a salvageable film. It's a movie that you can go watch and you can throw on in the background. You can absolutely, if you sit there and you really watch, you can tell the cuts where they had to add a person in, or it was a reshoot or something like that. Absolutely. But I really thought that this movie had a chance after the first couple weekends. I really thought this movie had a shot. I should say after the first weekend, I thought this movie had a shot at making 500. I did, but it doesn't look like it's going to hit 500. It's now looking like it'll probably hit. My guess is probably going to be about 420, 430. That's probably where it's going to hit, around there. Uh, I you have to wonder, will this bad juju, will this bad momentum push into Thunderbolts in May? Because let's face it, yeah, Daredevil's out right now. And Daredevil was exciting. The first two episodes were good, but it has to carry over for 6 more episodes. And if those 6 episodes deliver, great. That's exciting. That's fun. But not everybody, not the entire audience, watches Daredevil. So when you sit there and think about it, the main general audience listens to what's going on with the films, listens to what's going on with the grand scheme of things with the MCU, not so much the TV shows, but the films, the movies, and the larger impact of those things, I should say. So when Thunderbolts is about to come out, are people going to sit there and say, well, Captain America wasn't all that good, or, Captain America didn't do well? Is Thunderbolts going to do, like, should we even bother? Like, Marvel's been on a downswing. Sure, Deadpool and Wolverine did good, but that had Deadpool. But before that, we had the Marvels. Before that, we had, what was before that? I don't even remember. That's the thing. Like, what, can you even remember what was before Deadpool? A lot of people can't. So you're going to sit there and say, all right, the last 2 movies, one was Deadpool, but it was Deadpool. And then Captain Marvel. Then Thunderbolts comes out. If that doesn't do well, that's not going to be good for Marvel. And that's the struggle they have right now. I don't know, guys. I think Marvel's in trouble. And I don't think people realize it. And I don't even know if Kevin Feige realizes it yet. Their next 2 movies have to be home runs. They absolutely have to be home runs. I mean, let's just say, for instance, let's say Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four make less than 500 million each. Okay. The pressure that gets put on the upcoming Avengers movie is astronomical. Now, people will go watch it because it'll have the Avengers name on it. 100% they'll go watch it because it just says Avengers on it. Will it break $1 billion? Maybe. But people will go watch it. The difference between this upcoming Avengers movie and what we got with Infinity War and Endgame, hell, even with what we got with the first Avengers film, is there was a buildup. There was reason to get excited. There's no reason to be excited about this upcoming Avengers movie. None. Zero. We have no idea who the team's going to be. We have nobody building to an Avengers initiative. We have no threat that's looming. There's no talk of Infinity Stones. There's no talk of really anything coming to make us think like all of our heroes can come together and save the world. Because who are the heroes? Nobody knows. Doctor Strange is off somewhere. We don't know where he is. Spider-Man, nobody knows who Spider-Man is. We got Captain America, who is kind of the hero right now. Nobody really knows about. And that's the problem. Like, you don't have an established core of characters that are exciting to push an Avengers movie. And that's the danger of this upcoming film. So that's what's interesting here. These next two movies have to do well, I think, to really push this Avengers movie that's coming next year higher. If these next two films kind of falter a little bit, I don't think that bodes well for the Avengers movie next year. But it's crazy that Captain America is not going to make $500 million. It's crazy that it's not even going to probably make $450 million. And that's the medium, guys. The medium is around $450 million. That's the current medium for superhero films. So if that movie can't even make $450 million, what does that mean for Thunderbolts, which has basically a cast of side characters in it? That's what they are. They're all B-list characters running a movie, or villains. It's really interesting to see what's going to happen there. Really interesting. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen with Thunderbolts? Do you think it's going to hurt Fantastic Four? This, and what's going to happen with Thunderbolts? Could it hurt Fantastic Four? And do you think what's going on with this and these next two movies, is that going to affect Avengers next year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, what are you saying over here, guys? Jalen says, I feel so bad for Anthony Mackie because he was the best part of the movie, plus Ford Red Hulk. See, Ford was decent. Mackie was good. I mean, he proved that he can lead a film, but yeah. Critic Chris says, I liked Falcon Winter Soldier series more than the film. Honestly, I like Mackie and the character. Story-wise, I'd pick him over Bucky to take up the mantle of Captain America. I would have gone Bucky before Falcon, but I would have gotten to both of them for sure. Trayvon says, where are you MCU Glazers at now? I thought it was going to break bank with ease. Chris says, the movie was free and I still wouldn't care enough to watch. Jalen says, I love Daredevil so far a little boring though. Yeah, I mean, it had some boring parts for sure. But it was good. You could definitely tell that. Remember that rumor about how they stopped production and like rewrote everything? I don't think it was that intense, because remember that first, like, they were talking about how like you don't see Daredevil for like the first like 3 or 4 episodes at all. I think that's still true. I think that beginning part of the first episode where we saw Daredevil right in the beginning was a rewrite that brought him in, made sure we saw Daredevil, because then you don't see Daredevil again the rest of episode 1 at all in episode 2. And I'm curious if we're even going to see him in episode 3 or 4, just because of the way the story's going. So I'm wondering if there weren't as like intensive rewrites as they were saying there were. Interesting though. Andre says, I don't know if it's just me, but Thunderbolts just doesn't look appealing at all. I think I'm still curious about it. The more I've seen trailers, the more interested I've gotten, but my interest isn't like super high. It's definitely, my interest for Thunderbolts has definitely been higher than it has been for Captain America, though, just because I want to see Sentry, I think, is the biggest thing. But Fantastic Four has been at top of my list all year, for the last year, for sure. Jalen says, Daredevil Born Again got like 7.5 million views, so that's good. It is good. Yeah, but here's the thing. That's not 7.5 million views for a movie is totally different. For a TV show, is totally different than 7.5 million people going to watch a movie. So, you're going to need 10 times that amount to go watch a movie. That's all. So many things here. Chris says D-list. Did I miss something? Did I miss another? Chris also said Thunderbolts looks so lame. He says it's going to do less than Eternals. Maybe. Jalen Harris. Who even are the main Avengers? Exactly. There is no Avengers. The Avengers are disbanded. Jalen says Avengers Doomsday will probably make some money, but can anyone really say it will 100% make $1 billion like the previous ones? Again, that's my question, because of, like, does anybody care? There's no build up to the Avengers this time. Again, the Avengers name is going to guarantee it makes some money. But and hold me, I'm going to say this, I'm going to compare this for one reason. I'll get to it. Batman vs. Superman should have been a $1 billion movie. Easy. Batman, Superman, title card. $1 billion. Easy. Avengers, now, because of the name recognition, should be $1 billion. Easy. But if the story isn't there, if the story is not captivating for the audience, it's not going to make $1 billion. Plain and simple. And that's kind of what happened with Batman vs. Superman. And I think that could happen with Avengers. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's what I'm trying to compare. That's what I'm trying to compare to Batman vs. Superman there, is because Batman vs. Superman, while I do enjoy that movie, didn't make $1 billion because of the story. Because of the story. Batman and Superman should make $1 billion, but the story didn't resonate. The story didn't work. So the audience just didn't like it. They didn't go back. They didn't watch it. Same could happen with Avengers. That's all I'm saying, with Avengers Doomsday. Caleb Underwood stops in and says, hello. All right, moving on. This one's a little bit interesting. This one, I'm a big Hans Zimmer fan. What's with the ad? What's with the ad? Come on, Joe Blow, joeblow.com. Anyways, I'm a big Hans Zimmer fan. And I didn't realize that he was actually disqualified from the Academy Awards this year. He did the music for Dune 2, just as he did for Dune 1, but he was snubbed because a certain percentage of the music used in Dune 2 was already used in Dune 1. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. Now, again, this comes from joeblow.com. It says, the movie scores of Hans Zimmer have resonated with audiences for a long time. One of his latest compositions is for the Denis Villeneuve space opera Odyssey, Dune Part 2. That film was recently nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, and 1 for Best Sound and Best Visual Effects. However, Zimmer's work on the soundtrack would not be recognized this time around due to the Academy's rule stating, in cases such as sequels and franchises from any media, the score must not use more than 20% of pre-existing themes and music borrowed from previous scores in the franchise. Deadline reports on Zimmer's appearance on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, where he addressed how much he resented the role. The Maestro stated, you know something? It's not really a sore point. It's just a stupid point. How can it be a sore point? I got disqualified because I was using material from the first movie in the second movie, but it's not a sequel. It is the completion. Both movies are one arc. So was I supposed to go and take all the character themes away and write new character themes and develop them? It's just a stupid role. What I didn't want to do is go and bitch about it. Zimmer also revealed a bit of news on the progress of Doom Messiah. He says, I talk to Denis every day. Yes, it's happening sooner rather than later. Then the director of Dune 2 didn't mince words. He sounded off, says, I'm absolutely against the decision of the Academy to exclude Hans. Frankly, because I feel like his score is one of the best scores of the year, I don't use the word genius often, but Hans is one. I'm not here to complain. The soundtrack is really continuity of part one. Look, the Oscars, the Academy is becoming a joke more and more. More and more and more, the Academy is becoming a joke. I stopped watching probably about 6 years ago. I stopped watching the Academy Awards because it's a joke. I can't stand it anymore. I didn't know this was a rule. I never realized that. I'm not a big fan of the Dune film. I fell asleep during the first one. It took me like 3 times to watch that movie. Boring as all hell. So I haven't watched the second one. Hans Zimmer's music, though, absolutely majestic and beautiful in that film. Absolutely majestic and beautiful. There's nothing to take a look. Hans Zimmer is top 2 in my list of composers. Top 2. And to snub him for something like this is absolutely insane, especially when you sit back and you think about this when it comes to sequels. How often does this happen? Like, how often is music, like sequels like this come up? Not very often. Not very often. Like, this is something that I think is a bit ridiculous. Like, this is something I think they need to go back and take a look at and change the rules for. Because I have listened to the music for Dune 1 and Dune 2, and both scores are magnificent. And to me, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because of my frustration with the Academy. How ridiculous this entire process is anymore. From them, like what happened this year, and look, while I'm not watching it, I still follow along and see the news of what's going on. That music, like the musical with what's her face, Zoe Saldana, that got Best Picture nomination. That should not have been a Best Picture nomination. That like should not have been. First off, they have the ability to add 10 movies to be Best Picture nominated. They shouldn't be required to put 10 movies. If there are not 10 movies, don't put 10 movies. It's that simple. If you got 5, put 5. If you got 6, put 6. If you got 7, 7. If you got 4, put 4. Like, there should not be a requirement to fill all 10 spots. I mean, I could go on forever about this, but this to me is just aggravating. And I think Hans should complain. I think he should come out and bitch more about it. I think all composers should come out and bitch about it because this is a dumb role. It is a completely idiotic role that does everybody a disservice, does the composers a disservice. It's absurd. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just absurd. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just wanted to cover that quickly because being on Joe Blow, I didn't know if people would see this or not. It's not getting much traction, maybe. I don't know. I just wanted people to hear it. That's all. All right, guys. I'm going to move on real quick. What did you guys have to say here? Chris says, BVS was on track to smash $1 billion, but the big backlash killed any momentum that movie had. Critic says, I watched BVS 3 times and like other people more I watch it, less I enjoyed it. Jalen says, I honestly don't care for Academy Awards. Same. Jalen also says, I love Hans' music. Critic says, I never once watched awards night. Trayvon says, I've never cared for the Oscars. They lost me from the get-go when they awarded the best animated feature Oscar to Shrek over Monsters, Inc. It should have been Monsters. It curb stomps Shrek. I don't know. I'm kind of with them on Shrek, but that's me. All right. All right. I don't know if you guys heard. We're going to talk a little DC news right now for the last 20 minutes or so. Clayface was originally planned as a villain in the Batman 2. The idea, this coming from Everything DC, by the way, on Twitter. The idea then shifted into a Reeves-verse spinoff before turning into the DCU project Clayface. Matt Reeves is now producing the project for DCU. There's no basis of truth to this that I could find. And now you have people freaking out about it. This is coming from this batmanonfilm.com. And there's nothing that you can find that's factual about this. Now, granted, months and months and months ago, there was a rumor spreading that, remember, there were rumors of who's the villain going to be for Matt Reeves' Batman Part 2. And there was Clayface, there was Mr. Freeze, there was multiple rumors going around. But there was also that Mike Flanagan was it Mike Flanagan? Clayface rumor as well. I think it was Mike Flanagan. That was running around. And that it was going to be a solo film. And that he went by himself and pitched the film. But there was nothing solid about that. But now you see people running around saying that James Gunn stole it and put it in the DCU, and that's why James Gunn has to rewrite, or that's why Matt Reeves has to rewrite, and that's why it's taking forever for the Batman 2 to be written. There's no basis for any of that. And this is the problem with people who try to scoop information, who try to put out misinformation or false information. And this is the thing that just gets me upset. First off, it's okay to talk about things like, hey, we heard a rumor that this could be it. Okay, that's fine. But make no mistake, this is solely a rumor. Full stop. It's solely a rumor. Now, that's another thing. Yeah, Critic Chris has popped up here. He says people were hoping for the Court of Owls. That was one of the first things I heard years ago from somebody that I know and trust told me that it was going to be the Court of Owls. So there's been many, many rumors going around for quite some time. So when I sit back and I take a look and see this kind of stuff, this is what causes the problems that and the divide and the animosity between the fandoms and the producers and the executives and everything like that. It's these scoopers. It's these people trying to make a name for themselves. Like, oh, so I remember there was a rumor that Matt Reeves was going to do this. So obviously now that they're making this Clayface movie, James Gunn must have taken it from there. And then they were going to do this. And now they're not going to do that. And then they're going to do this. And they make up this whole story. And then it makes it sound good. And then you have the assholes who just shit on everything James Gunn does. And they twist it. And they use it as ammunition. The fact of the matter is, the reason why Matt Reeves is taking so long to write this script is there was something going on in his life. What that is not for me to say. But there was and could still be something going on in his life. It is not because James Gunn has shifted Clayface over to the DCU. For all we know, Matt Reeves could have been writing the script and said, you know what? I don't like the way this is going and wanted to do a solo project with it. And James Gunn said, you know what? I really like this idea, but can we shift this into the DCU? And Matt Reeves could have been like, you know what? Absolutely, because it doesn't really fit in my story. And that could have been the conversation they had. Or it could have been Matt Reeves had this idea. He was like, look, it doesn't fit. And he could have thrown it to the side. James Gunn could have picked it up and was like, hey, man, I really like this. Can I take it for the DCU? And Matt Reeves could have been like, sure. Plain and simple. Like, that's the thing that we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes with that kind of creative minds and the creativity back there. Like, they could have been perfectly in sync with each other on what's happening there. But people want to sit there and twist everything and make it sound like James Gunn is conniving and twisting and making things only work for him and screw Matt Reeves and screw the Batman Part 2 and screw this and screw that. But that's not really what's happening. Because none of us know. And if it was really that bad, if Matt Reeves was getting screwed over that bad, do you think he would stick around? Do you think he wouldn't speak up? Do you think he would say, you know what, screw it, I don't need this, I'm leaving? Yeah, I think he would. I don't think he'd stick around. I don't think he would be making producer deals for projects that are going to happen 4 or 5 years from now. And that's what people need to realize and understand. It's crazy. It's crazy the lengths that people will go to try and twist things and make their own narratives. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Let me know your thoughts, though, about this. I think we're all kind of interested to see where this Clayface movie goes. It should be starting, what is it going to film later this year? That's pretty exciting. But let me know. Like Jalen Harris's comment says, F the scoop game. Amen, brother. Critic Chris says, agreed. Clayface is more fantastical character and Batman doesn't fit the realism grounded approach Reeves films have. Correct. Trayvon says, there's only one divide in the fan base because people are so gullible to believe everything at face value. No crystal thinking that with them. Yes. All right. There's a couple other things that I want to talk about real quick. This one here, James Gunn shared a little tidbit about on the anniversary of Lobo. He states, on the anniversary of Lobo, I can't help but think of a text I received from Momoa on the morning it was announced Peter and I were the heads of DC Studios, the day Jason and I first discussed him joining the DCU as Lobo. I've loved watching Jason bring him to life, and I can't wait to share that with all of you. And he shared the first two messages with James Gunn, or with Jason Momoa. He had, effing Lobo, Jason says. And James goes, dude, I've said you should be Lobo for years. No lie. And then he also posted just a little bit ago, happy anniversary to The Engineer, created by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch, who you can see played to sinister perfection by Puppy in human form, Gabby De Fiera, I can't talk, and Superman this July. And we get a new behind-the-scenes image of The Engineer right here. So that's a couple cool things that we got to see today. But the big news is this. He also posted this today, a behind-the-scenes photo of Edie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Now, there's a few little details here we'll talk about, so just wait. But he goes, happy birthday to my great friend and great actor, Edie Gathegi, who you can see in all his technological glory in Superman in July. Fun little post, Edie Gathegi's birthday. Happy birthday, my man. Playing Mr. Terrific. Looks fantastic. Can't wait to see him in live action in Superman this year. Obviously, we did see Mr. Terrific in live action in the Arrowverse, but I'm really looking forward to this version for sure. But obviously, when you get a post from James Gunn on social media, in comes the haters. In comes the people who just can't take it for what it is, because obviously James Gunn saying happy birthday to a friend, a coworker, somebody that he admires is something bad, right? Something bad. So everything DCU reposted what he said, what the image. And we get Aaron Fisher going, a behind-the-scenes photo of Superman without Superman. James Gunn is the focal point. It's a joke at this stage. Anime Culture jumps in, goes, it's actor's birthday, idiot. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody could say it better than that, really. But he continues. He goes, and James Gunn is front and center, idiot. Well, I did a little investigative work because, you know, that's what I do. I like to correct people when they're wrong, as we know. So I like to correct them. And I go, well, I take the picture. You know, he said front and center. So I made center line, and put some lines here. Oh, there's James Gunn. He's really over to the left here. Here's the center line. Edie, more front and center. You know, here's the center line. He's way closer to the center line than James Gunn. So, you know, I had to prove him wrong a little bit there. Obviously, you know, just saying. But honestly, like, the dude needs to just chill. Like, his obsession with hating on anything and everything Superman and James Gunn is getting out of hand. It's crazy. It's become an obsession, and it's disturbing and sickening. It really is. Like, there is nothing bad about that photo. Literally nothing bad about that photo. It was simply James Gunn wishing happy birthday to a friend. And in doing so, he's promoting the upcoming movie. But he had to find a reason to trash it. Like, that's absurd. And then, not to mention that he sits there and he says James Gunn is the focal point. Now, I want to show you something else here, because he does say, where's it at? Where is it at? I can't find it here. And of course, James Gunn is the focal point, right? Well, no, wrong one. James Gunn isn't the focal point here. It's all about the engineer. It's just a fun picture. It's a fun picture. Happy anniversary, engineer. That's what James Gunn does. He has fun. He has fun. But no, he has to complain. He has to find a reason to complain. More amazing behind the scenes photos. He has to find a reason to complain. This man is a miserable human being, and I feel sorry for his family that they actually have to deal with this miserable human being on a daily basis. I do. It's just fact of the matter. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for him too. Like, I think he needs to find something. I don't know if he has to find God. I don't know if he has to start going to church or something to kind of get some, spirits lifted up in him, but he is a miserable human being. All right. It's crazy though. Absolutely crazy. A couple eagle-eyed viewers though, or X people, I should say, people on X, notice something back here. They think that could be Lex Luthor's warsuit. It's very interesting. So here's the full photo. And back there in the back of a truck, it's very reminiscent of the purple and green warsuit of Lex Luthor. Could it be? Very interesting. Very interesting. Could be, maybe not. Some people say it's his Lex bots or troops wearing a suit similar. I don't know. It looks kind of big and bulky. Could be interesting. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think, though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments for sure, because I think it's very, very interesting. All right, guys. So what do you have to say? Let's finish this show off with some things that you guys have seen today and what you guys think is going on. Let's see. Trayvon says, whew, that man has a family. He does. Critic Chris, Aaron says, costume looks cheap. Crypto's in the movie. The new DCU logo looks bad. Yeah, well, that's what he does. It's crazy. Indeed. Crazy indeed. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. Jalen says, it's bad enough that people say the marketing is bad and that James is evil villain from James haters, but it's just so sad to see. Yeah. Wait. Trayvon says, can someone slap the slot out of Aaron? Jeez. Jalen goes, oh God, Aaron again. Yeah. I mean, he's right at the forefront. Like, anytime James Gunn posts anything, he's at the forefront. Like, there's literally nobody that is quicker to criticize and rag on anything James Gunn does than him. It's crazy. Jay Kelly says, Edie is perfect casting for Mr. Terrific. Michael Holt, my favorite character, finally brought to live action. Jay Kelly says, Lex bots. It could be. I mean, it very well could be. But could it be the step towards the warsuit? I don't know. For as much as I've put together for this movie, there's still a lot we don't know. And that's exciting to me. That's exciting. Trayvon says, don't be surprised if Superman is dedicated to Gene Hackman in addition to James Gunn's dad. That'd be interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised about that. Chris says he's excited. Are you talking about Aaron? He's excited? Just rage baiting. I will say this. I know he'll be there day one, opening night, to watch the movie. But he will not come out of that theater happy no matter what. He's already made up in his mind that he's going to hate the film. There's no way that man is going to enjoy that movie. There's just no way. Like, there's nothing that James Gunn could do with that movie to make him like it. Hell, he could reshoot the whole movie with Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder could do all the action scenes and he would still come out hating the movie. Because James Gunn is attached to it. He just has a hate boner for James Gunn so much. It's incredible. Like, I've never seen anything like it before. Like, never. I've never seen anything like it before. It's wild. It is absolutely wild. Critic Chris says, you're talking to Trevon there. Jalen says, OMG, he just posted a video talking about Clayface and Batman 2 and blames James just now. Look it up, Slav. Look, it's not surprising that he would do that. You had to figure he was going to do that. That's exactly what he does. Anytime he finds a reason to yell and scream and blame James Gunn for anything, that's what he does. But as I tell you all the time, I will go out of my way. I will make sure that I explain everything with a level head. I look at it from all angles. I sat there and explained what they'll say. Exactly what I said is probably what he's saying. And they're going to sit there and freak out and say, James Gunn went and just said, no, I want this for my stuff. You can't have it. You need to rewrite your script because I want this. And that's probably, I can guarantee you that's not what happened. The reason why I can guarantee you that's not why James Gunn, or that's not why Matt Reeves is taking so long to write or finish his script, is because I know why it's taking him so long to finish his script. I know. But I can guarantee you, Aaron doesn't know. And because Aaron doesn't know, he's going to make these wild accusations that James Gunn is the reason. And that's pathetic. That's what's pathetic. Jay Kelly says, do we really care what Aaron thinks about Superman? No, nobody should care. But people do care. People listen to him for some reason. And that's why I try to get the other side of information out there. So there's both sides out there. The correct information, me, and then his information. Look, I'm not always correct. And I hope you guys call me out whenever I'm wrong. And I'll try to be correct as much as possible. And when I'm wrong, I will come out and try to admit when I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Jalen says, this man is just so sad and mad. He is. Critic Chris says, he acts like Gunn fired him, canceled something from him. If so, what was it? He is just downright hateful. I wonder if he was supposed to be cast as a voice in something that James Gunn was doing and he didn't get hired or something. I wonder. It would be interesting if that was the case. I don't know, though. Critic Chris says he hates Gunn because it's what gets most likes on his channel. I mean, people love negativity. I mean, that's what gets the views. That's what gets the clicks. I mean, it is. It's crazy. I don't know what can get me more clicks and views. What could get me more clicks and views? I don't know. What am I at now? Let me take a look here. I think I'm about 65 away from 2K subscribers. Yeah, 65 subscribers away from 2,000. So I wouldn't mind hitting 2,000 by the end of March. Be nice. I just don't know how to get it done right now. Jalen says, here's a correction for Slav. Civil War is great and the best movie. Oh, man. That's not a correction. Trayvon says, is he still wondering why he wasn't given early screeners of Creature Commandos? I can tell you why he wasn't, because he didn't go through the proper channels to do it. Critic Chris says, I guess people like being lied to. I mean, they just want to be pandered to. It's not that they're being lied to. They want to be pandered to. That's the thing in life. People love being told what they want to be told. And, there's people out there, a nice chunk of people who want to be told that their feelings about the Snyderverse being gone and it's all James Gunn's fault and stuff like that is correct. And they want to be told that James Gunn is bad man, and that's what they want to be told. Plain and simple. Now, on the flip side, there aren't people that want to hear James Gunn is amazing and great. So, I don't typically sit there and say, James Gunn is amazing and great. And I'll sit there and say, hey, I think Superman's going to be great. I think this movie's going to be awesome. But I also like to talk about other stuff too. But yeah, my thing is I talk about everything as a whole. I try to make sure that I get as much accurate information as possible, and people don't want to hear the accurate information. They want to be told what they want to believe, and that's the difference. Critic Chris says, Aaron, CS the director, harsh critic, no difference between them and women on The View. Somebody capture that right there, capture that and share it online so Aaron sees that. The only reason why I say that is because I know Aaron is a hardcore conservative, and I know he probably hates The View. So him being compared to being the same as the girls on The View will be hilarious. Oh man. All right, guys. This was a fun show for sure. Yeah, I think it'll be fun on Thursday. All DC talk for the Watchtower, guys. Don't forget, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for the Watchtower. So it'll be fun. I hope you see you there. Hopefully Twitter doesn't go down again, so we can actually have me promote it. But yeah, it was a fun time today, and yeah. I don't know. Hopefully, we get some more news, DC news. There hasn't been a lot lately since that big spat of news last, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. So, hopefully, we get some stuff. But all right, guys, thank you all so much. And yeah, I guess I'll check you all out later. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. I'm so close to 2K. I want to hit 2K. Follow us on the Discord. I know I haven't been active there lately, but for instances like when X is down, it's a great place to hang out when X is down. And Facebook, you can now find me on Facebook. There's a Facebook page. You can follow me there. So there's so much other stuff. So, guys, thank you all, and I will catch you all later.